Our role goes far beyond delivering content. We mentor students, serve as motivators, we guide, we facilitate learning. For us to do this effectively, communication is at the heart of our role, our responsibility as educators. And of course, we have the ability to mentor students, our colleagues, to speak to students, to speak to our colleagues, to speak to parents. And of course, we inspire, we clarify, and we build trust. And so for us to deliver effectively, we must understand how to communicate effectively. And of course, we must understand how communication helps us to foster inclusive learning. We must also understand how communication helps us to convey complex ideas clearly. Sometimes you have learners that you intend to pass on a particular message to, but it's quite complex. How do you communicate effectively? How do you reach out to them effectively as an educator? We also know that communication will help us to encourage our students' participation and, of course, help them to engage in critical thinking. And that's a skill that is lacking in some of our learners that we've observed. Also, effective communication will help us to manage conflicts and challenges. And of course, we help us to deal with empathy. There are so many things that parents will bring our way. There are so many ways they get upset. But when we understand how to communicate effectively, we will be able to manage these complexities as they present ourselves. This training, we must understand that this training is designed to help us to strategize practically and to enhance our non-verbal and verbal communication skills. It will also help us to pay attention to listening to people clearly, to speaking with the right tone, and of course, to engage more importantly with technology. We implore you, and I do implore you to listen through, follow through the activities here, and of course, we have a facilitator who is clearly prepared to engage us in this session. I would like to, at this junction, introduce our facilitator for today. She's no other person than our dear Mrs. Olamitoyosi Babatunde. She's a distinguished educator. She's a thought leader, and she's currently the head of school. She has been head of school for about 2 decades. With experience transforming classrooms, schools, and educational systems. Ms. Olamitoyosi holds a degree in foreign languages and industrial and personal relations from the University of Ibadan. She also has a postgraduate diploma in education from the National Teachers Training Institute, Kaduna. She's a registered teacher with the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, and she's a certified digital teacher and a social emotional educator through the UNESCO's Amenchi program. Ms. Olamitoyosi serves as the Dean of the Right Teacher Academy, a flagship leadership training platform under Light Africa Foundation. She has mentored over 200 teachers and school leaders in structured programs, trained public school heads and quality assurance officers, and facilitated over 80 workshops with participants across Nigeria, the UK, and Ireland. She's also a recognized Montessori directress with expertise in Montessori, EYFS, and primary education, curriculum leadership, and teacher development across British, Nigerian, and American curricula. In 2025, she was named one of the top 25 women transforming education and leadership in Africa by Light African Foundation, and one of the 60 women who teach, lead, and inspire by LinkedIn's Leading Ladies of Learning. She was also honored by the Benin Teachers Network, one of the 15 women shaping the future of education, and featured globally by Clarity Global International, Australia, for impact in educational leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we welcome our facilitator. She is also authored, rather, I've seen second page. She apologize for that. She's the author of 2 powerful books. She's the Lady and Her Cross, and a practical guide to personal finance for women, and Christmas in the Animal Kingdom, a children's book that explores identity and confidence. Olamitoyosi has also contributed to system-level educational reform, notably consulting for the state government on the digitization of primary English lesson plans and for the Edo State Superb in 2024. Currently, she leads as head of school at Pampers Private School, Alaka, and is a national executive member of the Association of International Schools and Education Nigeria, AISEN, a respected conference speaker and panelist. She shared on leadership, education reform, staff development, parenting, and personal growth. With an unwavering belief in purpose-driven leadership and lifelong learning, Olamitoyosi is passionate about raising leaders at every level, from the classroom to the boardroom. She's happily married and a proud mother, balancing family life with a global vision of educational transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, please be kind to welcome with me Mrs. Olamitoyosi Babatunde as she takes us deep into communication this morning. Thank you for your time. You're welcome, ma'am. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odeyale. Good
Mr.
morning,
Babatunde, you're
everyone.
welcome.
Can we hear me
Over to you, ma'am.
clearly?
Thank you.
Good
Can we
morning,
all hear
ma'am.
me clearly? Good morning.
Clearly hear you. Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Good morning, ma'am.
First, I want to appreciate AISEN for this opportunity to be a blessing to educators. I believe that education can be better if we all work at it. Just this week, a gentleman responded to another person's post on Threads saying that educators cannot have time for self-development because of the work they do in the classroom. Of course, in fact, I think that's the first time I'm responding to anything on Threads. But I wasn't going to keep quiet about that. I responded immediately. I told him that was not true, that I disagreed, because I am a product of self-development. Just as you may have heard in my citation, I do a lot of things, I'm a head and all that. But I started from the very bottom. I started from an assistant teacher, and I worked my way up through personal development. And I believe that we can all be better. So for everyone on this call today whose school has registered, sent the link for joining and all that, I want you to go back to school after this session and say a big thank you to your school leaders for giving you this opportunity to become better, to become stronger, and to become the best version of yourself. So without much delay, let's get on with today's session. We are talking about effective communication skills, a powerful tool for a 21st century teacher. And of course, the goal is to enhance school and student success. So you are not just here for yourself, you're not just here for your own class alone, you are here for the student, and you're also here for the school. As we go on, you will see why improving your communication skill would also help the school and other stakeholders. Before we get started, why are we here today? What do we hope to achieve at the end of this session? By the end of today's session, participants should be able to, 1, clarify the role of communication in a 21st century classroom. 2, identify key communication skills every teacher must have. And 3, engage in reflective and practical activities to improve communication. So if you're thinking that you will just put the session on speaker and go about doing other things just so your school would know you showed up, I am sorry to disappoint you. That's not going to be happening because this is going to be interactive to a good extent. So I need your full attention. I need you to be here. First things first, let's go to our starter activity. In the chat, I want you to drop an emoji that best describes how you feel about communication in your classroom. Please go into the charts. I'm waiting to read the charts. Drop an emoji that best describes how you feel about communication in your classroom. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's excellent? Okay. Someone says it's cool. Someone loves communication in your classroom. Grace thinks it's superb. Deborah is happy. Okay, I'm happy to see that we are happy. Sophia and David, would you care to share with us how to interpret your emojis? Is it that you are happy or you are laughing at the state of communication in your room? Please let's know. Those of you that are laughing, Oladele, Wide Oak Schools, are you laughing because you are satisfied, you are happy, or are you laughing because you know it's not the best and it can be better? Please share.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm not too good with emojis. I think that represents happiness to me. It's fun. It's fun communicating with the kids in class. You're happy, just catching fun with the students. Thank you.
Okay. Any other person? I also mentioned a few other names who are laughing and smiling. It can be better. We are not there yet. Thank you, Oladili, for sharing. Okay. You love communication. Fantastic. Okay. The next thing is for you to tell me your name and where you're joining from. So in the chat as well, please tell me your name, where you're joining from, and yes, the class that you teach. Okay, thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Chiamaka. So your name, where you're joining from, and the class that you teach. So you can tell us your school and location, or you can tell us just your location. Johnson, thank you. Where are you joining from? What class do you teach? The Learning Place Lekki, grade 7 to 12, grade 11, grade 3, Harry School. Thank you, Luatoin, for responding. Davidson, Oladele, Almond School, year 11. Beautiful. Canterbury International, year 3, White Dove, year 3. Ekpe, GSS 3 to SS3. Basic 1 to 6. City of Knowledge, grades 10 to 12, grade 2. Preschool, beautiful. Okay, I like the fact that we have participants across the different parts of our schools, from EYFS all the way up to college. Year 1 to 12. Wow. Reception. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So at the end of the session, we are going to review what we have learned. So please be attentive. Let me quickly take it back to the objectives. Please look at these objectives again. We will review at the end of the session if we have actually learned these things or not. Okay? Not only will we review the objectives, based on your responses, we will then have a short test. Don't worry, all multiple choice questions, so you are safe as long as you're here with us. Now let's move on. Let's talk about why 21st century skills matter. The truth is, the 21st century demands a new set of skills. I'm sure we all know that by now. We can all say, oh, what used to work years back does not work now. So yes, we need a new set of skills. And it's important that teachers become learners themselves, very important, become leaders in their own sphere of influence, become communicators and collaborators. Of these skills and other skills you can think about, what skills do you think are vital in today's classroom? Please drop in the chat. I told you to be interactive, so please get through the program, okay? So what skills do you think are important in today's classrooms? I like the responses I've been getting so far. I like the fact that we are engaging. Let's keep it up till the end. Okay, emotional intelligence, tech skills, teamwork, AI, okay? Edutainment. Do you want to explain how edutainment is important? Because I would think edutainment is not exactly the work of the students, though. It's what we create for them as part of learning. But please share your thoughts. Questioning skills, critical thinking skills, entrepreneurship, empathy, teamwork. More student-centered than teacher-centered. Okay. Entertaining, yes. But in the place of entertainment, learning must take place. Playful and group work method. That's collaboration. Teamwork. I think that playful also keys into the entertainment that the other person was saying. Critical thinking, pupil-centered. Thank you. Let's keep it coming. I'll move on to the next slide. Next slide. Innovative skills, making learning fun yet educative. Awesome. Awesome. That's beautiful. Okay. So what are 21st century skills? They're actually more than this, but these are the top 21st century skills. Critical thinking, collaboration, communication, creativity, digital literacy, adaptability, global awareness, social and emotional skills. So you can see that almost all the answers given fit into these top skills. We have to teach our learners how to think. We should encourage collaboration in our classrooms during teaching and learning. They must be good communicators, but we must first be good communicators because we won't be able to give what we don't have. There must be room for creativity. Just as we'll have multiple means of representation, there must also be multiple means of expression. In other words, we present learning through diverse methods. We also give learners different options to give us feedback on their learning, to tell us about their learning, what they have learned, and all that. Digital literacy. I don't think I need to say so much about this. Digital literacy is important for us as teachers. It's important for our learners in our classrooms. Adaptability. We must be able to adapt to move along with the changing times. We must be able to take what we have and make gold out of it. Okay? Global awareness. We can't sit down and be local champions. We need to be conscious that whatever we do now echoes not just in eternity, but echoes on different levels, in different ways, affects the learners, affects their future spouses, their children, their immediate families, their parents, and all that. And of course, the larger society. And then social and emotional skills. We must know how to interact and how our actions also affect the learners in our rooms and in our schools. Importance of communication. Why is communication important? So based on these 21st century skills now, I'm going to talk about communication, which is our focus for today. But you might wonder what happens to all these other skills. The truth is that all these other skills have one thing or the other to do with communication. Communication just underscores every other skill in this place. To be able to express or practice these skills, communication must be right. So let's look at the importance of communication. Number one, it builds trust and relationships. When we communicate properly, people can relate to us. They find it easy to talk to us. And because of that, trust is built. Once trust is in place, then it means that we have established some form of relationship with that party. Communication helps to drive engagement and motivation. Imagine that you log on to this call and I just keep quiet, I cross my arms and I'm staring at the screen. I probably share maybe the first slide or the title slide and I don't say a thing for the 2 hours you are here. Would you say that communication has taken place? No, because I haven't engaged with you. So communication drives engagement and motivation. It gives people a reason to want to do something, to want to be involved in something. Communication also supports inclusion and differentiation, especially for our special needs learners. It also helps to facilitate learning and behavior management. We have to be able to communicate with our learners, with each other, for some form of learning to take place and for us to manage behavior. Let's talk about the 3 C's of communication. In any of our communication activities, these 3 things must be there. Number 1, clarity. Number 2, consistency. Number 3, communication. We're going to look at these 3 in detail. So let's talk about clarity. Clarity has to do with being understandable. People must understand what you are saying. You mustn't communicate in a way that will confuse people. It's not about the big grammar. It's not about impressing them with fancy words. No. Communication is you being simple and clear about what you're saying so that the next person can pick it up and work with it. if, there are some people that pride themselves, oh, nobody can understand whatever I've written. If somebody steals my notes now, they cannot work with it. Now, if someone steals your note, for example, the person not being able to work with it should be a matter of skill, not for lack of clarity. Meaning the person might not be able to work with it because the person is not skilled to perform at that level. But if the reason why the person cannot work with your notes or with whatever you submit is because it is not clear, then there's a problem. It means that you are not a good communicator. So your communication must be understandable. It must avoid ambiguity. So people should not wonder, okay, so what is it talking about? Could it be this? No, I think it's this. Maybe it's this. Then you come and say, no, this is what I meant. It means that your communication was ambiguous, and so people could not work with it. Your communication should also leave no room for misinterpretation. So what can you do to improve your communication, to make your communication clearer? Number one, use simple language. Avoid unnecessary jargon. You don't need to impress anybody. No, you need to communicate. That is your need, not impressing people. The interesting thing is that when your communication follows the 3 C's, then you can make a good impression on people. So avoid jargon, technical terms, or complex sentence structures that may confuse your audience. Now, I am also an English teacher. When I mark creative writing texts, I tell people that marking creative writing text is like driving on the expressway. When your story feels like I am going smoothly on the express, we are fine. But when I start coming across errors, blunders, it's as if I am getting to potholes. Then when you use a lot of complex sentence structures, it's as if I am coming to very high speed bumps or speed breakers. And that makes the experience flawed. Immediately my red pen comes out once I start hitting the speed bumps or the potholes. So avoid complex sentence structures that may confuse your audience. Structures that make them keep checking their dictionary, wondering, okay, avoid it. Number 2, focus on the core message. What do you want to say? Identify your key points. And then ensure they are clearly communicated. Avoid giving unnecessary details. And you see, it is not just maybe when you're writing a letter or something, it's in your classroom as well. When you give instructions, focus on what you want the learners to do. When you are making a request from management, be specific about what your expectations are. Don't go rambling, beating about the bush, and making the students wonder what exactly they are supposed to do, or making your boss feel that, oh, this problem has no solution. As a matter of fact, when you're coming with an issue, you should also be ready to suggest ways to address the issue. Management may not follow what you have said, but it gives a cue as to what the problems are, rather, and what can be done to combat the problems. But if you just come and you dump the problem or the problems, you don't have any solution or solutions, I can assure you that your boss will avoid you as much as possible. Nobody likes someone who just dumps problems on them. But if they know that, oh, when you're coming up with issues that you have in your classroom and in your work, but you would also suggest a way or ways to overcome these challenges, then they would want to listen to you. Sometimes they would even invite you to share your thoughts on other things. So it is important to focus on what exactly you are saying or you want to say. In the same way, you are teaching in class and you use scenarios, you give examples. Do not drag the story so long that it makes your learners lose focus on the learning. I don't know if that's happened to you before, but I've seen when I was still a class teacher where we're marking exam papers and learners So of course, papers are shared across, so you don't necessarily mark your own class paper. In fact, you wouldn't mark your class paper. I've seen where learners would give a scenario as an answer to an exam question because that is what they remembered. So it is important that when you're giving examples, telling stories to buttress learning, to drive learning home, you find a way to tie it back to the core learning for the day. Because that story is what they will remember for much longer. So when you tie back to the learning, even if the learner would mention the story, they would be able to itemize the key points, which is what we need to answer that question. So focus on your core message. Then be specific and direct. Provide clear, concise information without leaving room for speculations or assumption. You know, I keep talking about this. Avoid ambiguity. Don't make your audience feel it could be A or B or C or D. Let them know, oh, it is A and B. Be clear, be specific, be direct. And then consider your audience. Imagine you are setting exam questions for a primary aged child, but you tailor your language and style of communication to a college classroom. Does that suit their understanding or needs? No. It means that you are only preparing your learners to fail, and that is going to be very unfair to them. So think of your audience. ChatGPT, AI, and technology have even made it easier now. You can go on to ChatGPT, for instance, or Gmind and say, define habitat for a grade 3 classroom. It's simplified. The way to define it will be different from how to define it for a grade 10 classroom. Or another way to put it is explain habitat to a 5-year-old. It will be simpler than the way to explain it to a 12-year-old. So tailor your message to your audience. Let it fit their expectations and what they can do. The second C is consistency. Consistency has to do with predictable and reliable flow of information, ensuring that your message remains consistent over time. This has to do a lot with our class management skills. So, do your learners know what you expect from them in your classroom? Do they know that, oh, in my class, for instance, there's no aimless movement and that every movement must be purposeful and connected to the learning? Are they aware? Or do you give one rule today and give another rule tomorrow, thereby causing confusion? Do you even have class rules? And I'm talking of class rules all the way up to year 12. That is connected to creating a structure in your classroom on your lessons. When I go in to take a class, even now as a head of school, sometimes I go in, especially when we're preparing for checkpoint, for instance, I was able to support my teachers by taking 1 or 2 weekend classes off the concerned teacher. And so from the first class, the first thing was after the welcome was to agree on class rules. I have rules guiding my class. These are my rules. When I'm explaining, you are not writing. When I am writing, you're writing. When I stop, you stop. When we have class activities, everybody participates. We are not selective about who we engage with during collaborative tasks. We do not get up and just walk away or walk to any part of the classroom. There is a way to do it. You won't even get up to come to talk to me to give you permission for what you want to do. No, you raise a silent hand from your seat. I would come to you. I don't want you walking about distracting my lesson. And once I had set the rules, it was easy for subsequent classes. We simply just flowed. They knew what was expected. I didn't have to shout or keep talking afterwards. Why? because I was consistent with the message I gave out. If we agree that this is a penalty for a particular wrongdoing, we've agreed as a class, once someone defaults, the rest of the class will remind the person, you did XYZ, this is your penalty. Not that I will then come back and say, let's forgive XYZ. Maybe because that person, you teach that person in lessons, for instance, or the person's mom is your friend, or is the head of school's child. No. If we have agreed that this is how things are to be done, we must be consistent. You are giving them a task. Define how they should do the task, when they should do it, and where. Are they writing it in their classwork? Is it going to be homework? In my English classes, I also insist on learners having a reading journal. Now, even though that journal is for reading as such, but the goal of the reading journal is also to support learning in your classroom, especially your English classroom. So sometimes when we have some collaborative tasks, we write in our reading journal. So the question would have even specified, in your reading journal, jot down 10 points on XYZ, so they know where it should be done. Or create a PowerPoint slide to explain this topic and this topic and this topic. Specify what you want to see. So define how, define when, and where. School admin, you are communicating to parents about a field trip, for instance, and you want them to fill a consent form. Specify where the consent form should be returned to. Don't just say, and return to school. To who? We are having a fundraising at the school. Who collects the funds? Be clear in your communication. Consistency still has to do with using a consistent voice and approach when you are communicating, whether it's formal or informal, written or verbal. You must be consistent. If your body language does not align with what you're saying, that's a problem. And then reinforce important information to ensure it is understood and remembered. For instance, if you have a question, please drop in the comments. I wouldn't want to take questions right now, please. Thank you. For instance, you have given a task, you have given them the instructions. Before they start writing, can you ask questions from them to ensure that they understand what you're asking them to do? Or do you just say, okay, so everybody will understand, right? Start writing. No. Ensure that they understand what they are to do. This is very important when we have special needs learners in our classrooms, for instance. They might be flowing with the rest of the class quite all right. Whether they have a facilitator or not, it is important that you also check in with them, that they understand the learning you have just completed and they understand the follow-on task. Finally, provide timely updates. This is also about consistency. So you have sent a message in the newsletter to parents about an activity that will take place in the school. Don't let that message remain in the newsletter alone. Some parents will read and they would forget. Some will not read. Some will read the newsletter, but somehow they will miss that particular information, maybe because they are reading very quickly or they gloss over it and so on. So how do you combat this? Provide timely updates. 2 weeks to the event, post a reminder on the platform you use, whatever platform you use to communicate daily with parents. And if you don't do daily communication, then you might want to just, the platforms that I use, whether it's via email or WhatsApp or Class Dojo, whatever platform that you use, provide timely updates. So 2 weeks before, a week before, a few days before, as you're providing these updates on the parents' platforms, if you have a communication book, it's also there. You are also telling the learners, you're reminding them during the assembly or when you have activities in the classroom, early in the morning as you're starting your day, you provide the updates. those are different ways you can be consistent in your communication. Next is connection. Connection is a sense of shared understanding. You need to listen actively. What do we mean by active listening? It's about paying attention to what others are saying. Not just the words that they say, but read in between the lines. Observe their body language. Study their emotions. How do they feel? So it's wrong of you for a parent to come up with a grievance or a complaint, and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is not that serious. You have just told that parent that their feelings are not valid. And that's a very unprofessional response that you have given. Pay attention. So it will be better for you to first validate their feelings. Say, oh, I can relate and I sincerely apologize. We shouldn't have done it that way. Or, oh, that was wrong. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Take ownership, take responsibility for that wrongdoing first. Don't start by trying to explain to them how it is just their perspective. Don't do that. Because what you are doing is you are gaslighting them. You are telling them that they are imagining their own feelings. Yes, they might have viewed it wrongly. They might have been told the wrong story. But the first step is to validate their feelings. Then you try to understand their perspective and emotions. Oh, I am so sorry. I understand how you feel. Sincerely, if it were me too, I would be upset. Or if this had happened to my child, I would definitely bring the Calvary. So I understand how you feel. After that, now find a common ground and create a connection. Okay, so can we look at it in this way? Is it possible that you can now bring up that scenario that you think you want to say at the beginning as the reason why it was wrong or it happened? Bring in that scenario and say, okay, is it possible that XYZ happened? Or could it be as a function of this, that, and that? For instance, a child does not do well. The child comes late to school. The child sleeps late. So comes to the classroom and is lethargic for the first hour or two of the day before the spark is ignited, maybe during break or when a teacher goes the extra mile. And then the parent wonders why that child is not doing as well as other children in those subjects that are affected by the late coming and the late night sleeping. Instead of just attacking immediately that, no, ma, it's not our fault. Your child does not come and understand. Oh, I understand. I will feel upset if my child consistently underperforms in this area. I sincerely apologize for how you're feeling. Then take a moment before you now say, okay, do you think that he could come to school earlier? You have not said he's coming late, though. No, you haven't said that. So do you think it's possible for him to come to school earlier? You know, if he comes in, say, by 7:30, between 7:30 and 8, we could have some intervention to help him catch up on work he has missed or on areas where he's struggling. And then we will just flow into the school routine for the rest of the day. Now, you have said, is it possible for him to come earlier? So we could, by using that we, you have made yourself part of the solution. You have told the parent that, oh, we are in this together. I got you. So create that connection and then ask questions to ensure your message is being received and understood. This saved me recently. After the parent was done, I said, okay, we discussed, and then, okay, so just so we're on the same page. So we have agreed that XYZ. So do you mean that? When I said, no. That's not what I meant, actually. I meant, but the parent had first said something that indicated, oh, I am so upset, I'm ready to scatter the world. You imagine that kind of response. And then you now bring up a solution, and parent feels, no, it's not that serious. But I wasn't the one that said it's not that serious. The parent came back because I now ask questions to ensure that parent understood that this is what I understand by what you have just complained about, and this is what I think we are going to do. Do you understand that this is what we might have to do because of XYZ? Then I said, no. That time I was just very upset. But I'm not that upset again now. Though I don't like the fact that the teacher replied me like this. But it's okay. It's not a big deal, really. It's fine. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to put sanctions. But who now gave that response? The same person who made a complaint. But imagine that I had also gone the way of, madam, why are you always complaining now? We thought that we try a lot for your family. And see, that would have been a direct attack on that parent. 1. 2, you should have told the parents that I feel your complaints are not valid, your feelings are not valid, and that you're a troublesome parent. And things would have escalated beyond that. What are other skills, communication skills, that you should have as an educator? Number 1, you should have diverse media proficiency. What does that mean? You should be able to use different forms of media. So you should be able to use PowerPoint, you should be able to use Excel for data, for instance, you should be able to use Microsoft Word, you should be able to use AI, you should be able to search for things. I'll talk more about that in digital literacy. Miss Timileyin, could you please help save these questions somewhere? Then when it's question time, we'll take them one at a time. Thank you. So you should have diverse media proficiency. Number 2, you should know how to give constructive feedback. What am I saying? When you are giving feedback to your students, to management, to parents, to your colleague, it should tell them, remember what I mentioned before, you should tell them the issues that you have with them, with their work, with their delivery, with a task and all that. As it is giving them the issue, it is also suggesting a way to improve, a way to get better. That is what makes it constructive. If your feedback is just negative, I don't like, what is this? Is this the question I gave you? No, that is destructive feedback. You're destroying the child. Our focus is not on feedback today. If not, I would have said a lot more about feedback. But in giving feedback, there are things you need to have in mind. Number 1, your feedback should be focused on the problem. That's how to get constructive feedback. It should be focused on the problem. 1. So don't, African parents, we can do this. So it's something we need to work on, where, someone has offended you. Instead of talking about that offense at that moment, you will now link it to the previous offense and the offense before that one and the one before that one. No, please don't do that to your colleagues, your learners, parents, or staff. Focus on the issue of the moment. That's number 1. We are talking about constructive feedback. Number 2, it should be timely. So you gave classwork and you are now marking it 2 weeks after you gave the classwork. And then you now put there, do your correction. Do you know that more than 50, about 70% of that learning is actually gone from the heads of your learners? So the feedback is completely lost. So 1, it should be timely. Number 1, focus on the issue. Number 2, it should be timely. And number 3, it should suggest ways for improvement. Those 3 elements must be present for your feedback to be constructive. So, for instance, you have done, okay, great effort. However, the question specified explaining the 3 stages of Baba. You only listed the stages. Next time, you need to also explain each stage. Kindly rewrite in your notebook for future reference. In fact, not just kindly rewrite the question and answer again for future reference. And please be detailed enough to take note of the learner you have given this kind of task so that you can go back to check that it was done. Nothing annoys a school leader more than going through notes during book audit and you find that a teacher keeps writing, the teacher keeps saying, redo, but there's no evidence that the learner redid the task. It tells us that you don't care about the children in your care. You don't care about their learning, and you certainly are not intentional enough about your role or your job. 3 bases of constructive feedback. Number 1, focus on the issue at hand. Number 2, it should be timely. And number 3, it should suggest the basis for progress, or it should suggest a way forward. I hope you got that now. Number 3 is digital literacy. In today's world, it is almost a sin for you as an educator to say you do not know how to research on the internet, or that you do not know how to identify safe and secure sites and sites that cannot be trusted. You get to a site, you see, in the search bar on Google or whichever browser you use, there's usually at the at the right-hand side or left, I can't remember which one, I think it's the right, yes. There's usually the icon of a padlock. If that padlock is open, it means that it is not a secure site, which means that anybody can see you on that site, anybody can get your information using your IP address. If the padlock is closed, then it's a secure site. As an educator, I would not expect you to impute details of your credit card or your card, your ATM card, on a site with the padlock open, because get ready for your account to be wiped at any moment. It may not happen immediately. It might be the day that someone with such intentions. No, I'm not changing slides because I'm still on this slide. Everything I'm saying here is from my head. If I had to do slides for everything I'm saying, then we will not live here today. So that was number 2. Constructive feedback was number 2. I'm talking about number 3 now, digital literacy. So you want to make a purchase, for instance, you get to the site and the padlock is open. Don't buy anything from that site using your card. You can choose the transfer option where they will give you an account to pay to. But even at that, you have to be careful. You need to be sure that it's not a scam or a cloned site, meaning that it's not a site that's created to cheat people out of their money. Do you understand? You are researching for a lesson. Don't just pick information from the first site you have seen. Check, number 1, when last was that site updated? 2, are there errors, grammatical errors and blunders? Such a site is not a trusted site. It's not a site with viable information. Find another site. Also, in the place of research, you cannot take all your information from one website. That's plagiarism. If you really are doing research, then it means that you will go through different sites to get relevant information to the learning, and then you put them together in your own words. So digital literacy is important. You must know how to search. You must know how to find information. When you're doing your research, it's also important for you to use keywords that are specific to what you want to find. Not that you just type a whole sentence into the search bar. Although now that Google has added AI, even if you type a whole sentence, you might get answers, or you would get answers. But it will take you more time to sift through. Or you may find yourself engaging in plagiarism. Number 4, emotional intelligence. As a teacher, it is important for you to know how your actions and reactions affect other people. That's the basis of emotional intelligence. You cannot talk anyhow to anybody, either because you are a leader or because you are the teacher, and so you feel you can just talk to your students anyhow. No. You must understand that your words can pull people down. It can bring people down. Your words can make a learner to stop learning. And see that patriarchal thinking, that African adult thinking, that because you are the adult in the room, then the students have to listen, is wrong. Because what you are telling them, Google will tell them. In fact, AI will streamline it for them. So you must bring in emotional intelligence, listen to them. Let your classroom be a place for interaction. You can learn a lot from them. You can even do flipped learning. You give them the topic and the objectives. Tell them to go and do their own research. And then when you come to class to teach, instead of you just talking and talking and being the only one in the spotlight in the classroom, ask them one question for this row or this row or this row based on the objectives. Let them teach the rest of the class by sharing their thoughts. And as they are sharing, you are taking notes on the board. What we call knowledge harvest is taking place. You are taking notes as they're talking. And then if, for instance, maybe your learners have visited a site with information that cannot be trusted or that is incorrect, you can correct the error. You can tell them, okay, now that you're done, let's quickly look at the points you have all raised. Okay, this point is actually not like this, it is like this, it is like this. Do we understand? Still on emotional intelligence, make sure that there's a connection in the classroom. Make sure that you're observant. You can tell when a learner who does not normally disrespect anyone, who does not normally misbehave, suddenly misbehaves. You can tell that there's something wrong. Not that, oh, you just act out because, hey, how dare you talk to me? I'm the adult in this room. No. Emotional intelligence, we understand that we are all learning in the classroom. As you're teaching, you're also learning from your pupils or students. Intercultural communication. See, the world is a global village. What that means is that we have children from diverse cultures and beliefs in our classrooms. It is an anathema for you not to understand the basic cultural inclinations of the children in your room. One common thing I've seen is seeing a teacher with maybe nursery learners, lower primary learners. They're taking the child from one place to the other, and you see a teacher put his or her hand at the back of a child's head. What? Some cultures might be okay with it, but if that's a Yoruba child, that parent can drag you within an inch of your life for that. Because the Yorubas are particular about who touches their head. That's a cultural inclination you must know. Or because you teach in Yoruba land, you insist that all your learners should kneel, really, in an international setting. Also bearing in mind that the Igbos and the Hausas, especially the Igbos, do not necessarily kneel. The Hausas don't even kneel, they squat. So these things might seem trivial, but they are not. They are skills you must have. Because if you find yourself in a place like Japan, for instance, the children, or even adults generally, they do not look their superiors directly in the eye. But if you teach in America and you look away, it suggests that you are lying or hiding something. So it is important that you have that intercultural skill, knowledge. Do your research. You will learn a whole lot about intercultural communication. So depending on what state your school is or what your local environment is, you need to know the intercultural inclinations. You need to know the cultural inclinations of that local community first. And then you just understand the different learners in your class. Oh, this boy is from the Arabian countries. Now, interestingly, They are in China, for instance, they are very hardworking. They will hardly complain about homework. But in some other countries, they have stopped homework. In fact, even in the US, the homework is usually project style. Not the homework we give you every day. They don't really do that. They do more of project style or just simple homework that won't stress them. And they give them a longer time. And just for doing the homework, there's already 50% sitting down, if it's the US, of the total score. Before they even look at, okay, what's the score itself for learners in schools, not the university. I can't remember the university one. Then you must also be able to resolve conflicts. One, you resolving conflicts between you and somebody else, or resolving conflicts between learners, or resolving conflicts between adults. You must learn that skill. So there are steps to conflict resolution. Bring the parties together if possible. But again, there's that cultural inclination. If you want to bring an older person with a younger person, the older person will deem it an insult. So it might be better for you to listen to both parties separately. But don't ever judge based on what one party has told you. That has saved me many times. Even when it's a parent that comes with a complaint, maybe against a teacher or another child, I'll tell the parent. Of course, after I've made the parent feel comfortable, I've shown empathy and created a connection, put myself in their shoes, they will leave me feeling happy, thinking or feeling as if their problems have been resolved. Meanwhile, what I would promise in such situations is that I would investigate, and then I would tell them a specific time to expect feedback from me. So, okay, please give me some time, depending on the magnitude of the issue. Please give me some time to do my research, and I'll get back to you within 48 hours. For some, if it involves observation, like one that a parent brought to me recently, I have to observe. I told the parent, give me 2 weeks. But within those 2 weeks, I'd also told the parent, oh, please do X, Y, Z. So I'd given the parent some form of resolution and closure. But by next week, I would also be either having a physical meeting with that parent or an online meeting where I would then discuss my findings and then let the parent know, okay, based on what we had discussed before, you can proceed like this, but these are other things that we will be doing, okay, to provide support to help the child. It wasn't a complaint about what the school was not doing. It was what she had observed about her child, things that she didn't think the child could do. Now the child is showing these abilities. She's not sure how to support the child, how to help the child become better as the child is improving. So let's move on quickly. We'll talk about nonverbal communication and then we'll reflect a bit before we go into our breakout rooms. Let's talk about nonverbal communication. You do know that first impressions matter a great deal, right? When we talk about nonverbal communication, we must be conscious of verbal and nonverbal cues. You know, I've mentioned some already. Looking at someone in the eye or looking away, looking down, those convey something. Now, you're talking to your superior and you cross your arms across your chest. That is disrespectful, and it suggests that you are being confrontational. It also suggests that you are not listening to that person. You are being defensive. Those verbal and non-verbal cues are important. And you also need to know when a student is using those things. Sometimes the students use it because they don't know, or sometimes because they want to get under your skin. So it's important that you also know how to handle those things. Tone of voice. Sorry, oh, I'm so sorry. What does that suggest? Please tell me in the comments. I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Please type in the chat. What does that suggest? That's the tone of voice. I'm waiting. Go into the chat and tell me what it suggests. Remorse. God bless you, Lukman. Now, sorry. Sorry. Please, this other sorry, what does this suggest? The second sorry. 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 What? Sorry. Thank you. Defiance. Let me be. Nonchalance. That's the second one. Second one is a case of, you want sorry now? Take. Let me be. Disregard. Go and let me be. Sarcasm. Beautiful. So our tone of voice is also important. A parent comes, you not tell management, I didn't say anything, no. You didn't say anything, but as parent is coming, you're already like, And then all through the conversation, you don't look at the parent, you look away. Okay, ma, no problem. We will do it. What are you telling the parents? Please, this other body language I just showed now. Thank you. The parent is coming towards your table and immediately you start rummaging through your bag as if you are looking for something, or you look away, or you start marking. And the parent is like, good afternoon, Miss Titi, good afternoon, ma. Yes, ma, I'm listening. And you continue marking. What are you saying to that parent? And then when the parent is done, okay, no problem, we'll work on it. But you don't look at the parent, you don't make eye contact. No regards, not interested in the conversation, confrontational, disregard. It could also be telling the parents, you complain too much. What? You are not wanted. That's what body language can do. Or a parent comes, you're marking, you drop the pen. Good afternoon, ma'am. In fact, you even go the extra mile of standing. That means you're acknowledging the person. You don't stand, you sit, but you stop what you're doing and you give the person your undivided attention. What does that communicate? Please tell me. So this one now, the parent comes, you stop what you're doing, and you give the parent your full attention. Good afternoon, ma'am. You're welcome. How did your day go? I am totally with you. Respect and regard. Yes, those are the kind of responses that any human wants to get. If you go to your colleague and your colleague treats you the first, in like the first example, how would you feel? Would you be happy? Or a child does that to you, I can imagine the African in you. You would feel like if it's in a school that beats, you would beat the child. You feel like, oh God, I should turn this child into a ball, roll him on the ground. Isn't it? If a child did that, you curtsy, reception, undivided attention, eye contact. So your eyes, they are windows to your soul. Through your eyes, we can tell how you feel about us. We can tell if you think we are nobodies. We can tell if you think we are troublesome. We can tell if you would rather not engage with us, if you think we are not important. The eyes do a lot. In the same way, let me quickly talk about this. Timeliness of communication too is important. So let's reflect. In these different areas we have just discussed, we are not done. This is like midpoint, but close to the end. In the different areas that we have discussed, which area do you feel strongest as an individual? And which one do you want to improve? Forgive my full stop instead of a question mark. Which area do you feel strongest and which one do you want to improve? Please share in the chats. The different areas we have talked about so far. Let me take it back for you to help you. Nonverbal communication, key communication skills for teachers, look through them. And then the 3 C's of connection, consistency, and clarity. In all of this, which one would you say you are at your strongest? And which one would you want to improve? Please share in the chats. It's reflection time. Consistency and conflict resolution. So you are strong in consistency, you want to improve on conflict resolution. Is that what you mean, Faith? Johnson. Okay, nonverbal communication is my weak point. Please work on it, please. Deborah is strong in consistency, I believe. Whoever is using Ms. Karunwi's link is saying he or she would like to improve on nonverbal communication. Okay, thank you, Faith. Sophia is strongest at clarity, but would love to improve on her connection. Beautiful. The Waldorf schools, consistency and clarity. So you are strong in consistency, you want to improve on clarity. Chiamaka is strong in clarity, she wants to work on consistency. That's interesting. A flip to Waldorf. The 3 C's are your strongest. Beautiful, Gloria. But you need to improve on digital literacy, okay? This should be Mr. Farouk that is using my name. Mr. Farouk, please change to your name. You want to improve on the 3 C's. Thank you. Abisola is strongest at warm reception and connection. She wants to improve consistency and feedback. Innocent wants to improve on consistency. Beautiful, beautiful. Any other response? Now we're going to move on. Okay, I see more coming in very quickly. Fumilayo's strength is consistency, and she wants to, oh dear, it's gone off. Just a minute. Fumilayo wants to improve on consistency. I think I've lost that. Okay, found it again. She's strong in consistency. She wants to improve on feedback. Favor is strong in clarity. She wants to improve on tone of voice. That tone of voice is important, Favor. It can put you in trouble if you don't work on it. Please, it can put the school in trouble. Sheon wants to improve on her feedback. Kehinde Silva is strongest in nonverbal communication. Beautiful. That's not an area where most people are strong, so that's a good one. She wants to improve in consistency. Jessica Umo is strong when it comes to clarity, emotional intelligence, and nonverbal communication. She needs to improve in digital literacy. Okay, this person wants to improve on connection and clarity. Deborah is strong on the 3 C's. Samson is strong on clarity, but wants to improve on consistency. I'm going to have to stop reading out loud. Thank you. I'll go through them as we go on. So at this point, we're going to have a breakout session. So I'm starting the breakout rooms. I'm opening the rooms. In the rooms, we will share with you your task. You will have 2 tasks. So discuss the 2 scenarios that are assigned to you. That's one. Then appoint a representative who will give us a feedback. This breakout activity is 10 minutes. Feedback is supposed to be 10 minutes, but I can't guarantee that I'll be able to give 10 minutes to feedback because of the amount of questions we already have. Please join your breakout rooms immediately. Please join your breakout rooms.
Mrs. Babatunde, sorry. How
Yes,
many minutes
please.
is the breakout room again?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
Because we'll take the breakout room 10 minutes. We'll take feedback from the breakout rooms for 10 minutes. We still have some slides to go through.
Okay, all right.
Yes. So we'll close the rooms after 10 minutes. And please make sure that you participate in the rooms. Engage, discuss. Have we all joined now? Ms. Timlin, some people are not in any rooms. Can you assign or should I go ahead to assign?
Yes, I will do that. I'm on that. I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't choose one person's unique link, like people with Ofokaru, you name your device to your
I
personal
think there should
name
be some of
so that
her
we can
staff.
record your attendance. Please.
Let's join our breakout rooms quickly and then we can share. Okay, so while you're assigning people, Mr. Mlei, I will go into some of the breakout rooms and start sharing the tasks with them so that you don't have too many things to do.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Beautiful. So everybody is back now. So we can continue recording. Okay. All right. So group one, who is your representative? Very quickly, can we drop? Is this group one? Someone is saying our work, you're supposed to share with us based on your group, not personally. So the representative for group one, please unmute your mic very quickly and share with us what your group has resolved to do in the two scenarios. This is scenario one. This is scenario one. So Mrs. Ade is upset because her child didn't participate. Please unmute your mic and share quickly or drop the comments in the chat. But I want us to do it in an orderly fashion so we don't have the group responses mixed up. So group two, do you want to unmute your mic or you want to drop in the chat? So group 1 and 2 also had scenario 5 as their second scenario. Group 3 and 4 also had scenario 6 as their second scenarios. Then they had each of their group scenarios. So please share with us how you will handle these things. Let's make it fast. Each group has 90 seconds to share their feedback. Group 1, please. Group 1,
Okay.
group 2, group 3, group 4. So tell us your name, tell us your group, and then tell us what you will do and what the issue is.
Okay. Can you hear me, ma?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, my name is Lukman Kilani. I want to speak on behalf of group 1. Unfortunately, we are only able to treat the first scenario, just one. We couldn't
That's
get to
fine.
the second one. Okay, let me just quickly talk about what we discussed. The first thing is to be calm, and composed. Provide the right body language when the parent comes in. Don't obviously that parent is a difficult parent. It shouldn't be the first time they are coming to complain. So we shouldn't let our body language betray our emotions that, oh, you have come again. That's one. So we should be calm and composed. Also, we should try to acknowledge parents' emotion by validating the complaint. Give the parents a listening ear. Just show that you are listening, that you care. Drop whatever you are doing and ensure that they know that you are listening. Then invite her to sit down, invite her to discuss this particular problem. Then you provide the facts. It's obvious that probably the parent does not know that the child has not been attending some training sessions. So you have to provide the facts as the school knows it, our own facts. So you don't have to, so the parent will know that, yes, it's not as if they deliberately left this child out of this relay race. It's because of certain valid reasons. So he provided the fact to the parents, and I'm sure after this providing these facts, the parents would get to see it from another angle. Then you reassure that we care about the child's well-being, that everything we are doing is not because we are particular about winning, that we also care about the child. We'll discuss way forward as regards how to make the child more involved. Yeah, that is as far as we could get in group one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful. So the next group, okay, I need to respond to this group very quickly. That's a good one. So let's go to the next one. That drum roll is for group one. So group two, are you ready? Group three, group four, group group 2, 3, 4. The next group. Onyechi, this is not the time to upload scenarios. We are done. But you can scroll through the chat to see if you find them. Okay, group 4 has responded in the chat. What to do? Reply briefly in the group to stay transparent. Beautiful. So let me share the issue for group 4. A child was rude. No. Group 4, which of the two did you discuss? Looks like you discussed scenario 6, right? So scenario 6, a parent in the class WhatsApp group posts a long message complaining about the school's new homework policy. She claims the school is overburdening children unnecessarily and says she'll stop her child from doing assignment until a proper explanation is given. Her message is gaining support from a few other parents. You are the class teacher and know that this issue might escalate if not handled well. The group task was to come up with the best way to respond, whether privately or publicly, then what kind of message you should craft to show empathy while reinforcing school policy, and then how to maintain professionalism in digital communication. So let me go back now to the response from them. So what to do? Reply briefly in the group to stay transparent. That's very important. If the parent posted on the group and you only go to reply privately, you give other parents the impression that you have ignored a complaint, and that's a dangerous impression to give. Because from there, they can then band up and start creating factions within the school. You don't want to experience that, trust me. You don't. And then after you have responded briefly in the group to stay transparent, you will then go to the private message of that parent to talk privately and calm things down. What will you say in that private chat? Thank the parents for bringing up their concern. Show that you care, that you understand, it can be a lot of work and all that. Then explain why that policy came into place. You can also offer to talk more one-on-one. So if you don't mind, ma'am, when you come in tomorrow, can we have a chat? How will you maintain professionalism? Use polite, clear words. You see where clarity comes in now. Stay calm. Don't get agitated. This parent has posted on the group now. And don't make the mistake of closing the WhatsApp group at that instance. No. Unless parents are fighting each other, don't make that mistake of closing immediately after a complaint. It's going to suggest that the school is being repressive. You don't want parents to have a say. And in this age of social media, you will just see your school on social media and you wonder, what did we do? Avoid arguing with the parents in the group chat. Even on WhatsApp, avoid argument as much as possible. Group 4, you picked scenario 3. Scenario 3 is not for you. So I'm not going to read that, but I'll give you your drum roll. Time is going. So we have group 1 and group 4. So group 2 and 3. Where are you? Do you want to unmute or you want to drop in the chat like this person said? The person is Kofokarunwe. Are you representing your group or you are responding personally? It has to be a group response. Amaka, are you representing group 2 or 3?
Group 3.
All right. Please go ahead. I'll share your scenario.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, everyone. So on the issue of teachers not being able to submit lesson plans, if I were the HOD or head of department of my department, we agreed that in our group, we agreed that we are going to have a meeting. The HOD will call for a meeting. And during the meeting, we'll find out the teachers involved. Ask them the reason, whether it's mere insubordination or unavailability or anything, can be emotional problem. Then after that, we also agreed that there will be specific sanctions according to the school rules. The teachers will be made to know that there are times where sanctions will be made. They will undergo sanctions concerning their insubordination or not complying to submission of lesson plan. Then the issue of the second issue there about
one teacher dominating discussions,
yes,
and then another one avoiding tasks. You know, there are always people that will dodge tasks. So one is dominating discussions, the other is dodging tasks. What did you discuss about those two?
Yeah, we discussed that. We agree that it still boils down to teachers understanding clearly what the rule says. And then we also agree that there should be trainings for teachers, because sometimes ignorance will make a teacher think that the classroom is predominantly his or hers. So there should be adequate orientation for teachers for communication, for them to know how to communicate in the classroom, to allow the learners to relate with them and be able to participate actively in the class. So that was our discussion.
That's good. Do they get a drum roll too? Should I give them? All right, so anybody for group 2? So we've taken group 1, group 3, group 4. Anyone representing group 2?
Good morning, Ma.
Good morning.
We were primarily able, because we struggled with being able to open the slides you sent to us, or the pictures you sent. So we had a little bit of we had a little bit of a hassle with that. So that's why we could only take one of the scenarios.
Okay, that's fine. So which scenario did you work with?
So we actually were struggling and giving that child feedback, struggling in English. And
so which of the two scenarios were you able to gain access to?
Scenario 2.
Okay.
Scenario 2. The one with the child struggling with English writing in English, yes. Expressing themselves in their writing task. So we're able to address the issue from, first off, when you call the child to have a one-on-one with the child automatically, or without even any recourse to what else, they already feel that there's something wrong. So we established that the most important first step will be to form a connection with that child, so that their guards are low and they are able to take whatever correction you want to bring forth. And we also said we're going to shy away from shaming the child. We would ask the child their difficulty and try to listen to the child, because as teachers, we sometimes tend to think we know what is wrong with the child, but tend to listen to the child and ask the child what areas they're struggling in, and then come in from the place of, okay, failure is all right if you work on it, feel better, and then profess solutions for the child to write better And that way we're giving the child the constructive feedback. So prefer solutions. I am an English teacher, so solutions I'll prefer, I'll give the child signal words to help them join the sentences together. Give the child examples of ways you can start story introductions, how you can start your stories or your creative writing. And then I'll give them tips that I think they can use to put their ideas in paragraphs, like the 5 W's and the 1H, that kind of a thing, just to help the child. And afterwards, try to make sure that the child understands that the goal is not to shame, but to try and make them better at their work. I think that sums what we talked about as a group, ma.
Beautiful. So it's important to know that there are no right or wrong answers here.
Hello, ma.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma.
Okay. I said it's important to know there are no right or wrong answers, but first, let me give them their drum roll. Well done, group 2. So thank you to all the groups for sharing your thoughts and all that. I'm sure that we should be able to circulate all scenarios along with slides after the session, depending on the office, okay? So it's important that at the back of our minds, we have the learners at the back of our minds with whatever we decide to do, and that we're careful with how we approach this. It's also important not to pick offense. Now, in the instance that something has happened, maybe there was an accident or there was an issue with a child in school, let me quickly chip this in that it's important for you to communicate to the parent yourself before the child gets home. That's something that saved me and the different organizations I've worked a lot of headache. Because when the children get home, they'll say it in the way they understand. Sometimes they may not even say it before the parent notices. And so it becomes a question and answer session with the child. And so the parent is trying to draw out information and it will come from their worst imagination. But if you have called ahead, XYZ was disrespectful today, or we had an issue in class today. I remember one time, many years ago, a very bright and engaging learner just decided to start misbehaving. I'll put it as misbehaving. She would distract others. She would not pay attention. She wouldn't do her work well. And when you try to talk to her, either privately or you are teaching, you call her to speak, she will say something like she's not interested. And it went on for a while until it became a full-blown, it became full-blown disrespect. And I was concerned because this was not who this child was. So when it became almost an altercation in the classroom, I had to invite the parents for a meeting. And in talking about it, I let the parent know, okay, I understand you and the way you have parented your child. I know that you have a vision for this child. And the behavior she has been exhibiting does not seem to go along with the vision I know you have constantly shared and exhibited about your children. I didn't start with, she's so rude, she's this. So, engage with the parent. Oh, a child is injured. Call the parent before the child leaves the school. As soon as you arrest the situation, call the parent and let them know, oh, XYZ happened. This is what we have done. He or she is fine now. He's stable. But I just wanted you to be aware of what happened and what we have done. And there should be a note home to the parent to say, this child, or even if it's just temperature, state the temperature, the child's name, class, temperature, what time the child was brought to the sick bay, for instance, or you are aware or you notice as a class teacher, the actions you took the child to the school nurse or the sick bay, then what medication was administered, and suggestion, the child should be observed at home for a day. The child should be allowed to see a doctor or visit the hospital. So you have communicated and you have also documented. So you have evidence. As you're sending it home, there should be a copy that you have in school. if you cannot do hard copy, if you have learning management systems that cover all these things like Edverse and all that, you can use a push message to push the message to the parents. Just make sure that you have evidence of your communication. During revision too, when we have revision in our classrooms, don't just say, I asked them questions for revision. There must be a documentation to show that, yes, you carried out revision in your classroom. Do we understand? All these things are part of communication. A parent did not sign consent form for field trip, and so you just leave. Take the extra step before you leave without the child and notify the parent. If the parent is not picking the call, send a message. Dear ma'am, I just wanted to mention that I observed you didn't sign the consent form for Adeoluwa. I don't know if this is deliberate, but I just wanted to let you know that because it was not signed, he would not be able to go out of school with the rest of his class. We will leave him in the care of, you can specify the teacher or the person. You can just say, we leave him in the care of one of the adults in the environment or one of the teachers in the school who will keep him engaged before we come back. That way, no parents will give you a court case later on that their child was ostracized or isolated from a school activity. Do we understand? I'm giving you examples of incidences that happen, and communication or poor communication is the bane of how it was resolved. Now I really have to run, and we still have our final reflection and task. So impact of communication on stakeholders. When we communicate well, there is learning taking place, students are engaged, behavior management is better. Parents will trust us, collaboration will be better. Our colleagues, in terms of colleagues, there will be professionalism and teamwork. And of course, it increases the school's reputation and builds a great culture. Please mute your mic. How it impacts classroom culture. Students take ownership of their learning. It builds their confidence. It reduces your burnout. Remember when I gave an example of having rules in my classroom, it reduced burnout for me because I didn't have to do a lot of talking. It strengthens parent-teacher interaction. And then, of course, it helps with special needs learners. When we are consistent in our communication, so consistent, respectful communication creates stability in the learning environment, and that is what we want to build. How can you improve communication? You can take a picture of this page. Practice active listening daily. Provide feedback using the feedback sandwich. What's the feedback sandwich? Start with what is good or what is going on well or what the child is good at. Then talk about the challenge. End with what is good, something else that the child is good at. Why? You want to leave the person feeling good about him or herself while also taking what you have said as being constructive and in their best interest. This works for whether it's for children, it works for adults when we talk about feedback. Use multimedia tools effectively, different ones, be culturally and emotionally aware, engage in continuous professional development, and finally, be intentional about your communication. We have two reflections here. Let's go on quickly. Ms. Milan, do you have the link for the written reflection, please? What is one communication strength that you will build on today? What is one communication habit you begin to improve immediately? You can drop that later on, but let's look at the objectives for this session. So now, can you actually clarify the role of communication in the 21st century classroom? Please tell me yes or no in the chat. Can you identify key communication skills that every teacher must have? Respond in the chat. Yes, I can. And during this session, I was able to engage in reflective and practical activities to improve my communication skills. Please drop in the comments if that is the case. Ms. Timlane, please drop the quiz link in the chat.
Yeah.
All right, so the link has been dropped. Please note that we require a minimum of the certificate for this course. Best of luck. We look forward to celebrating your success. Good. So we have achieved our objectives for the session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Please go to the comments now. I'm going to copy it again. Or Mr. Mlen, can you post it again? Please post the link again so that people can keep seeing it. So complete the quiz. We require you to score at least 80%. You have just 10 marks. So we expect you to have at least 8 over 10 for you to get your certificate. So
the link is not working.
Final thought, communication is not just a tool, it's a bridge. You are not
The
just a
link is
connector of content, you are a connector of people. Your words, your tone, and actions leave lasting.
It's not working.
The link is not working, please.
How is that possible? Okay, hold on.
The link is not working, madam.
Hold on, I'll send you another link. Please click on this link. Is it working now?
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, so we had some questions. I'll quickly address the questions. We have just 6 minutes.
Yes, the link is working now, ma.
Thank you. So they are all multiple choice questions, so they are easy based on what we have learned if you listened attentively. Yes, please answer the questions now. Thank you, Wido Schools, for your feedback. Mr. Mlen, can I have the questions now? Though I'm going through the charts to find them. I know that there were some questions asked early on. But if you have them, please share. All right, please post them. So if you learned, you got value, please let us know. But before that, I'll be taking the questions that we had. In an effort to have an effective and result-oriented communication within the school system, what are the formidable roles to play as a head teacher? As a head teacher, you are the key communication officer. You need to understand that you must be transparent in your communication. Please mute your mics. So as a head teacher, you must be transparent, you must be focused, you must be trustworthy, and your communication must be in the best interest of learners and the school. Please mute your mic. Thank you. How do you handle a situation where you consistently enforce class rules? Okay, so some pupils will perceive you to be strict, possibly because if the link is still not opening for you, please copy it and post in a different browser, unless you are working with a different wrong link. I've posted it again. So 1, the way people parent these days is interesting. Some parents are permissive. They allow their children to do anything. They don't give them rules or guidelines. Children from those homes will consider it to be strict. They might even report you. But it does not mean you should not have class rules. What you should also consider is how the class rules were set. Did you come together with the learners to set the class rules, or you made the rules yourself? So it's important that you work with the children to come up with the class rules and the penalties. It's easier that way. Even the learners will defend you against those ones. Where you keep doing your best about innovation, but they don't see anything good in innovation. They believe in crude. And so how do you come up with your innovation? Do you make it look as if you people don't know anything? Or you come at it from an angle of, oh, we are doing well, but I know we can do better if we do X, Y, Z. We must always be careful not to play down the efforts of other people or to look down on them or make them feel that their efforts are worthless. That's very important. We must not continue to criticize those that were before us just because they are older or were there for a longer time. We must recognize the fact that for them to have been there for that long, they must have been doing some things right. And so we are there to enhance, not to destroy. How does one communicate boundaries to students without being referred to as strict or lenient or unbothered? With teenagers, you have to be bothered. See, they know when you are talking from a place of care. And you see, as someone who is a mom of teenagers and a preteen in secondary school, they come home sometimes and they tell me things like, oh, teachers don't care about XYZ. They can tell when nobody cares. They can also tell the person who cares. They may feel you are strict, but they know when it's from a place of care. So look into that. But please don't stop caring. What if colleagues insisted they've been in the system, they don't welcome new innovation, I keep educating them? Okay, so you need to work with management. You need to be sure that it's not a culture. Sometimes it might just be best for you to start in your own little space. Let them see what you're doing. Okay, I'll share. Miss Timline, we are sharing slides with them, right? Miss Timline, are we sharing slides with participants?
It will be included in the email that will be sent to everybody.
Okay, so it will be in a mail that I've sent to everybody. So I will also include suggested solutions to the different scenarios, and I'll make sure you get all 6 scenarios. Okay? All right. At this point, I have to put a stop to the Q&A, but I've answered every question in the chat. Thank you for joining. I believe you found value. I want to say a big thank you to AISEN for having me and for this opportunity, and to the head of teaching and learning at AISEN, Mrs. Chinedu Unkwanta, who is unavoidably absent, but represented by Mr. Ogunyale. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Mr. Odeyale, pardon me, over to you now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the impactful learning. I must confess that it has been also helpful to me. I fortunately also took the test. I think I passed. I got 10-10. Thank you for your time. Thank you all for joining in. For one thing that is critical to me as an educator and also as an administrator, I discovered that most of the challenges we deal with in school, challenges from teachers and students, parents and teachers, in fact, parents and management, communication is key, is at the heart of these challenges. So one person not explaining, the other person not understanding what the other person is saying, and communication, in fact, if care is not taken, communication can drive so many challenges in the school. Thank you for giving clarity to the questions raised, particularly the questions about how to respond with colleagues wanting to innovate, be innovative with ideas, and others saying, and this is the way we used to do things and rest of that. I know that we have different challenges, and we hope that as we reflect on the lessons of today, we'll be able to, of course, address many of these issues. Also, please be free to also interact with the materials that will be sent to your mail from the slide of today. And above all, as educators, have an open mind. Open-mindedness is key to development as a 21st century teacher. Please be open-minded to learning, and God will continue to help us. Will continue to help us grow, and of course, help us as we continue to leave a legacy of impact. Sincerely thank AISEN. I thank Ms. Unkocha, administrator, coordinator of the CPD, for this particular platform. Also, I appreciate our AISEN administrator, Ms. Timlane. Thank you for your time. Thank you for putting this together also on the back end. God bless you. Thank you for joining. Thank all our school leaders and school head, principals of schools and school leaders. Thank you for support, and thank you for registering your teachers here. Thank you for your time, all. And that'll be all for now. Mr. Timlane, is there another thing to say?
Oh, that's all. Thank you so much, Mr. Diali. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that'll be all for my end. Can we thank you all for your time? Thank you so much. That'll be all.